University of Ghana. And he has been in the business for the past 10 years. His client base includes high-end people. The president of this country, he's the one who sews for the president. He also sews for the president of Liberia, Kenya, Grenada, Sao Tome and Principe, and Guyana, and many more. So he's an international clothing designer we have in our midst this afternoon. And I want to use the opportunity to let us put our hands together and welcome him as he comes to take the stage. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Agambire, this is your class. Welcome.
Hi. I don't know where I should introduce myself again, but like I said, my name is Matthew Agambire. But a lot of people call me Mondana. Today's topic actually resonates with why people who don't know me, like people who don't know my real name, when they meet me, they call me Mondana. So I just want to ask one question. Why do you think that instead of people calling me my own name, Matthew, I meet people and they call me Bondana, Bondana? Eugene can attest to that. Who can give me a reason why it is so? Do we know today's topic? Okay. Can somebody hand him over the mic?
I think the reason why when they meet you, they call you that name is because you created a lasting impression on them. So they always remember your name when you meet them.
They always remember my name, but Bondana is not my name.
Is it your brand name?
Brand.
So then your brand created a lasting impression.
Yes. I was looking for the word brand. So we are here today to talk about the importance of branding, how to build a well-lasting business brand. That's why we are here. Okay, So by way of a simple introduction, again, I did not go to any fashion school, but I think, where's Razak? You can just, if I need to push it down there. I was saying, I didn't attend any fashion school. Neither did I go to learn it anywhere. I learned fashion by passion. I hope you can hear me. Okay. So I found myself in the fashion space based on my passion for clothing and garments. So I decided to build a brand out of my passion, and coincidentally, it became somehow a household name at a point. No, the first page, the first. So today's topic, we are looking at building the right business brand. In business, to be successful, you actually need a good brand. If the business has no name, it will not stand. And the name of the business is what is called a brand. So when people are talking about brand, global brands like Coca-Cola, Toyota, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and the rest, it is because of the brand impact of the businesses that they've built. So building the right brand, building the right business brand. Move to the next. Can anyone define what branding is? Branding. Do we know what branding is? Who volunteered to give us? Eugene. Oh, you don't ask your students questions when you're... Should I bring the mic to anyone randomly? Are you going to raise your hands? I should just point at someone. I think a man answered, so let me look for a lady, a young lady. Okay.
So, I think branding is the fact to affect a name to a specific idea. Branding is the fact to affect a name to a specific idea. Affect a name to a specific idea.
Is there any other? What's branding? You don't know what branding is? Are you sure? What branding?
I think branding is the concept of selling your business to people in like a digestible idea, or like in a way that is easy for them to understand.
I think this is quite close. Branding in simple terms means that you create something and you deliberately position it to mean something in the minds of people. That's the street way of branding. For example, if you're Muslim, right? Yeah. She comes to class every day with a veil on her head. Assuming she's the only one who does that. Or maybe she decides to use just a red veil every day. When I come here, I may not know her name. But I can go like, okay, the lady in this class, what's the name of this class? Okay, the lady who always has the veil on her head, or the red veil on her head. Everybody will know because she's the only one who does that. And so branding is a way a business is deliberately, or an individual deliberately positions themselves in the minds of people. So that even when you are not in the room, when you are absent, people can easily associate with. It is the reason why I have a name, but people tend to call me Bondana. A lot of people don't even know that I'm called Matthew. So that's the importance of branding. A business brand is more than a logo. It's the story people believe about you. Like I just said, strong brands are built intentionally. Like I said it's something that people deliberately push. You can push your brand as a brand that believes in diversity and inclusion. You can push your brand as a brand that believes in prestige, luxury. You can push a brand as a brand that believes in culture. You can create a brand and associate it with something that everybody knows. For example, I do clothing. I have other businesses under the Mondana Group, but Mondana Clothing is the flagship company that actually pushes the others. And I have a particular style. I make my clothes. I'm not into complicated outfits. I usually do plain, simple, but elegant outfits. So I've positioned my brand as a unique, simple, but elegant in the industry of fashion. So when you come to my showroom, you hardly would find any complicated kind of outfits. I think this is about the most complicated outfit that you find. Even if I'm trying to add something, I just add something little. And I also draw inspirations from top fashion designers like Loro Piana, we have Zenya, and those subtle classic global global clothing designers. So why did I do that? I did that because I needed to position myself as a brand that would sell to people that believe in conservativeness, people that don't like noise. They want to move silently, but they still want to look elegant. And so when you come to the fashion industry, maybe in Ghana and beyond, and you are looking for a conservative brand, I have positioned my clothing business, which is a brand, as a conservative brand. Should I pause for questions to be asked before I continue? I should finish and then you ask questions. Okay. So, No, I think I have a 10 issues. Okay. This way. So far you can. No, you can stand here and do it. You stand here. Yeah, okay. So we move to our second slide. Why does branding matter? Why is it so important to brand? You cannot sell any product until you brand it properly. And branding includes a lot of things. Branding matters because first impression is key. When I came here, she didn't have to tell me that she was Muslim. But I could tell she probably was. I was 95% sure. But I just needed to confirm from her because of the way she's dressed. So she's branded herself in that sense. So I didn't have to even doubt. Okay. So beyond products, like I said, I sell clothing. I have a fashion brand. Why would people leave other brands and come and buy from me? It's because of the way I position myself as the brand of choice for people who want to be conservative, people who like quality, executive, people who want to associate with a certain class. So all this, you go to differentiations, you go to emotional connections. So you create the brand, sell it like that to people, and they get emotionally connected. They get emotionally attached to it. Well, I think you have to use this one. I prefer that because, yeah. Okay, differentiations. So you see, throughout the slide, you keep hearing branding, 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 branding. Sometimes they even tell you that you need to brand yourself. For example, I happen to craft a brand that sells to really influential people. And I did that on purpose. How did I do it? I deliberately built it to target certain kinds of people. For me to have been able to do that, I needed to set myself apart. How did I set myself apart? I looked at quality of material. So I used over 3 years researching where I'll find the best fashion designers, where I'll find the best fabric manufacturers globally. So I sat in my room and then I did all those research for at least 2 years. So when I started, I didn't take a break. I went from one point to the other. And before I actually started, I started with trying to build a network. That's differentiation. Trying to set myself apart. So I started building network with certain kinds of people. Now, to create a strong brand, it doesn't come easy. It comes with a lot of determination, hard work, and sometimes confidence. Because if you decide that you're going to create a brand that sells to, let's say, students, you might want to do something that it's not really too expensive. Like it's in the level where students can afford. Maybe normal T-shirts, something that will cost like 150 cedis, 100 cedis, and so. But that one you are trying to sell to the mass, to the public. How do you do that? You can actually use social media, where most of us are on social media. But the kind of brand I was creating, it wasn't that way. I was targeting a certain group of people. And so you need a lot of deliberate attempts to be able to reach those kind of people. And one secret about that is, once you are able to reach one, once you're able to have one in your corner, you are most likely to get a lot of them coming your way because of the perceptions they have about your brand. So that was how deliberate I was building the Bondana brand. So you go. Okay, so defining your brands. How do you define your brand? You have to actually tell people the purpose of your brand. So when people walk into my showroom, I tell them that I don't really do complicated outfits. I believe in conservativeness. So you come to my shop and you see only plain fabrics. You don't see multicolored fabrics, unless otherwise someone is asking me to do that for them specifically. Apart from that, I leave it simple and straightforward. So voice, how do you communicate your brand? At Bondana, our promise is simple: to deliver luxury, elegance, and authenticity rooted in African excellence. So we are very authentic, because if you come to me with somebody's design and it's too complicated, you know how fashion brands work. Sometimes they can create something that is purely unique. If you bring it to me to do the same thing for you, I'll tell you that no, I can't do it. This is somebody's intellectual property. I want to stay on my own. So let's say I will not also go and copy a high-end brand and do the same thing with the same fabric, I'll tell you no, I won't do that. I can do something different for you, just to stay authentic. It is the same thing when you're an individual. You first of all have to be authentic before people will believe you. Because if you try to imitate others, you might end up throwing yourself in a ditch, and then your personal brand or business becomes tainted. Then you have to have some personal values, or you have to have some values for the business. What do you believe in? Whatever you believe in, you have to stand for it. You don't have to bend, you don't have to curve, you have to stand for it and push that agenda, no matter how difficult it gets. So as students, when I was a student, I didn't know where life was going to take me to. I thought I was going to finish school, look for a job, and get paid well. So I actually started doing that, with national service. I was trying to impress my bosses and all that. But I discovered that that wasn't going to help me. So when I started doing MBA, I was actually admitted to do HR. But along the line, I changed, because I felt what I wanted to do, HR will not help me. So the brand started building, from there. Then to build a strong brand, you need a certain level of promises. You promise and you deliver exactly, or even beyond. So you come to me and I tell you that I make simple kaftans. I don't do complicated outfits. I do one of the best suits that you can find globally. I use one of the best fabric manufacturers like Loro Piana, Zenya, and the rest. That is a promise. Now, I will have to stand on that promise. When you come to my place, you see at least 20% of the global top fabric designers in my shelves. Whatever you select, it is the exact code I'm going to use to build a suit or a kaftan for you. Whatever style I promise is the same I deliver. When I fail to deliver as promised, I would have to compensate. But chances are that I'm not going to fail. Because the moment you fail once, then you create a different brand and not what you are trying to create. Okay, to build a solid brand, you need to build trust. How do you build trust? You need to be consistent. Consistency is doing things even though at certain points in time you don't feel like doing them. But you would have to wake up and do the same thing because you want to achieve excellence. For example, I remember a story where I actually sold different things before getting into fashion. Why did I do that? I did that because I was trying to build a certain kind of network with some kind of people. So I used to sell cars, like brand new cars. I used to sell houses. Not because I actually wanted to sell houses or cars, but because I wanted to meet people that can actually afford homes or brand new cars. So I went out there for 2 years, walking into CEOs' offices, business owners' offices, government officials' offices. I come and I go like, okay, I'm selling a car. Sometimes I go there and I sit for, let's say from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. without food, because the moment I hear that, okay, he's in a meeting, he will come and see you, I will have to stay there until I get to meet the person. Sometimes you stay, you don't meet the person, you go and you come again. That's consistency. Now, when you do that, the person you are going to meet, when he finally meets you and he learns how you've had to wait for several hours to be able to see him, he will realize that this guy really attached so much importance to me. And so that's how trust and confidence is built. Reliability. How reliable are you? Eugene reached out to me, I think, some few days ago. I had only 3 days to come here. I would tell him that it won't be possible. But if I told him that I would come, and then today he calls me and I'm like, oh, I'm not able to make it, he will never take me serious. I become very unreliable. And when you are an unreliable human being, it is more like you're a liar. And it will taint your brand image. So you have to push your brand to be recognizable. Consistent visuals, messaging, experience makes a brand instantly recognizable. So that's why you wake up and you see some companies send you blast messages and all that through emails or text messages. They just want to be in your face. Professional credibility. Consistency signals discipline and seriousness. So when you wake up and you are consistent, you try to meet certain demands, you try to meet certain people, it signals how serious you are. You walk into a room and people know that, yeah, this guy, he really means business and he's serious about it. And it all boils down on how you make people feel, how you treat people around you. Trust over time. You build a solid brand when you are trusted. For example, most of my customers, they are high-profile people, like presidents. It's not easy to reach the level where you make clothes for presidents because they have limited time and their demands are huge. A lot of things that need to be kept in place to reach that echelon. And it's only based on trust that has been built over time. So, for example, I made clothes for former government appointees, recent government appointees, business executives. So one person would trust you and actually refer you to another person. There are some levels of businesses or sales or brand building that you can never reach unless they trust you. For example, if you're going to sell a house worth over $150,000, I usually say that you only sell to your friends, not friends as in normal friends that you go out chilling and drinking with. But most of my clients are my friends because we've come to trust ourselves, and they know that when they say this, it is that. When I say that, it is that. So they can easily refer you to a third party without having any issues because they know you will deliver. Now, one of the things that I realized when I started fashion was that all of us, fashion designers, or let me use the normal term, tailors, they have one thing in common. People tend to think that they are not reliable. They'll tell you that your tent will be ready tomorrow, but let tomorrow come. They will give you another story. So I set out to break that, misconception, that stereotyping. So if you tell me that you needed a suit, let's say you called me yesterday and you told me you need a suit in 2 weeks, I'll tell you that I can't do it in 2 weeks. I can do it in 4 weeks. And I'll give you the exact day it will be ready. And there's absolutely nothing that will come my way. Nothing. I mean, nothing. Sometimes, when I started, I didn't have my own machine. I didn't have my own tailor. I'll buy the fabrics, take to different tailors in some different corners that they know how to sew. So, one interesting thing about building a brand is that you can build a strong brand that doesn't even have to have physical structures or location. So I built a brand that had a name, but I didn't have a shop. I didn't have one single tailor. I only opened my first flagship shop in March 2024. So people were like, where from this guy all of a sudden? But I was working behind the scenes. I built a brand, and I was able to do that. Okay, so you go to emotional connections. The way you treat people, how you make them feel, will actually drive them to your brand. Beyond products, nowadays we have a lot of products competing in the market. We have social media. Everybody can market their brand anywhere. So there's really nothing like, I have the best brand. I have the most luxurious, I have the most qualitative brand. Whatever you are doing, in terms of the product itself, there are people who are ahead of you. But the question then is, how do you make people feel? So it's more like relationship or the network marketing. It's more like services. When somebody walks into your business page for the first time, or you walk into somebody's office for the first time, how do you make them feel? All those things come into play in building solid brands. Let's go. I think I've spoken about this. Personal branding for business. When it comes to business, the personal brand is very, very, very important. Like you, the founder of the business, it's very important. Assuming that you are the class rep of this class, how did you become the class rep? It's because of the way you handle yourself. I remember when I was in Legon, first year, we had this guy. He wasn't the class rep, but he was always active, picking things for the lecturer and all that. So the day they were looking for a class rep, everybody was calling, combat. He actually became the SIC president later. So we didn't vote, so he automatically became the class rep because of the way he branded himself. Okay, so I already spoke about authenticity, staying true to self, stay consistent, align your words with your actions. So I said it earlier, when I tell you that your outfit will be ready tomorrow, it has to be ready tomorrow. There's no excuse. Even if I don't know, there's nothing like, the lights were out. If the lights are out in my factory, I will carry my tailors and take them to somebody's factory to go and produce the outfit for you to get it. Sometimes I have to stay overnight to make sure that that is met. And I do not take any single customer for granted. Whether you are a student, you are whoever you are, once you walk in or once you are looking for something, I will make sure that I serve you to the best of my ability. Also, to train my staff in terms of being punctual, being on time, and doing things the right way. One most important thing that we often tend to overlook is timing. When somebody gives you, we tend to overlook the importance of timing. You know that the meeting is at 3 p.m., and then at 3 p.m. you are still home. And you say, it's Ghana time. Now, you won't understand why you are building a business. Some people are succeeding and others are not. I've always learned from the way the Nigerians do their things. They are very sharp, like they don't believe in book theory. They believe in practical things. If they are meant to do something, they will do it to the best of their abilities. You know, mostly they are on time. They are on time, they are very consistent, hardworking, and they are determined. Building a brand, you need to build visibility. By building visibility, you share insights, network, engage online and offline. If your brand is not visible, then it won't stand. Being visible doesn't mean that you should be walking about everywhere, talking about yourself instead of the brand. And we are not just talking about business. Branding goes beyond just business. I think maybe about 1 or 2% of you will go out and try to do business. The rest might want to work in corporate world, in corporate Ghana or in the corporate world. How do you brand yourself? To land a job. It's how you make people feel. You know, how you treat people. You constantly have to let people know that you value them, you value their time, and they are so important. That's why they will have to leave others and come to you. Now, let me advise you on one single thing. That's very, very important to me. It's something that I will never hide. Success does not depend on how smart, how good, or how intelligent you are, or the family you come from. Success, about 95% of success depends on the people you have, network. And so I would want to passionately appeal to you. If you need a job, you need people. If you need to do business, you need people. If you want to sell, you need people. So I think Eugene would have to add a topic on how to build network. Network is very, very, very important. It has helped a lot of people. I've learned a lot from successful people who have been successful, not because they are skillful. There are people who are very smart, like they are like machines. But sorry to say, most of them don't go anywhere. Most of them may end up working for people who are not that smart, but they are brave enough to approach people. So please, you can be, it's good to be smart, it's good to be intelligent, it's good to be skillful, but try as much as possible to network. And don't be afraid when you are networking. When you see anybody that you think this person can help, try to collect their numbers, try to talk to them, introduce who you are, go after networking. When you build the right network, whatever you have to sell, you can always push it. Maybe you want to become a contractor. I can assure you, it's not about the quality of your work. Before the quality will speak, somebody will have to give you the opportunity. So your growth, your success depends largely on the kind of network you have. So decide on the kind of network you want to build and decide to do it today if you want to ever be successful in anything. It's not rocket science. I wasn't the most brilliant student in my class, but I identified an opportunity and I decided to use the power of networking to go get that, to make sure that that goal or the opportunity I saw become a success. So I don't joke with networking. When I'm talking, I mean, I've heard people speak about it. I've read books, you know, motivational books and stuff about networking. You may think it's not as important, but passionately, again, you need to build the right network. That's why you have people who have not been to school, but they are very successful. They've employed people who have been to school. It's just who they know. You know, whatever you have and you want to push it out there, make sure that you build the right network. Branding is being pushed by people. You have people who become your loyal apostles. Like they go somewhere and they talk about your brand. They talk about you. You walk into a room and people are talking about you, but you have no idea. So networking, it's very, very, very key. Credibility by association. You know, some people associate with your brand because of others. It's actually very easy for me to sell my brand these days because the kind of people that come to me, it attracts the same caliber of people. But the bad side of it is that, or let me not say the bad side, the downside is that there are also a group of people who will never ever come to me because they believe that as for this Bondana brand there, it's for the high class people, like Eugene. So that's how brands are important. You build something. Sometimes I'm surprised. I'm like, you have not even asked me of the price, but they assume that how can I afford a clothing brand that is being worn by presidents? But of course, there are other brands in Ghana that are even more expensive than my brand. But interestingly, that's how proper branding does to businesses. Well, so it's all about networking, support system, network, and mentorship. So always try to build networks with people that you think you aspire to be, with people that you think can help you. Now, you should know that nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you've never started anything, you can never reach anything. I'm sure you are here because one day you decided that you're going to go on ACity website to go and apply. That's the only way that brought you here. So if you ever have something in mind, you want to build a solid brand, you do not have to wait for all the lines to fall in place before you start. You can just start it. And I started like rough on the streets, you know, like selling all manner of things, watches, houses, cars. Sometimes people make fun of me that how can you sell a house worth $1 million? And I'll go like, what if I sell it? And I actually sold some, you know. It's just getting to the right people by building your solid personal brand. Now, your aura. How to build a solid personal brand. I remember some time ago, somewhere in 2018, I usually would go to, how do I build networks? I usually would go to places like hotels. I can dress up and go and be in a hotel, wear a suit and go and be sitting in a hotel waiting for some kind of people. They'll be passing. Then I stop and I talk to them, take their cards, you know, take their numbers, introduce what I do. So I remember in 2018, I went to Parliament. I usually do that. There was the State of the Nation address. So I knew that most of the politicians and business people would gather. So I went and I was standing at the entrance. So when they were coming out, it's a true story. I'm not framing. This is true. When they were coming out, I went there because I wanted to meet one particular person. I didn't go there to meet everybody. One particular man. So I waited and I waited. So when they were coming out, I stopped him. We were actually two. A lot of people were trying to talk to him, and he acted snobbish. And then I walked to him. I was dressed in suits. I was wearing some shoes. So I told him, I approached him, I told him that, oh, hello, sir. My name is Matthew. I have a clothing brand. I sell suits, and I do that and that and that. What the man did was he actually looked at my shoes and looked up. You know, and he made sure that I saw him do that before he handed over his card to me. What did that tell you? He did that because he felt like, okay, you say you are selling suits. Okay, let me check you out. What are you wearing? So assuming I was in a T-shirt, like my brother here, he might not mind me. He did actually give his number to others, but he gave it to me. At the end, I texted him for 1 full year. So every year, no, I texted him from 2018 to 2023 December, when I finally got his attention and I made a sale. So I'll text him for the whole year, and then he'll respond once in a year. But it's not like I texted him every day. Maybe occasionally, if it's his birthday or something, then I text him. Or once in a while, then I just send something. He reads it, and I saw that he read, but he never says anything. Then the third year, I met him at an event in the Eastern region. Then I walked to him again. I was wearing a kaftan. And I said, oh, yeah, this, I'm this guy. He said, oh, yeah, that's good. Then I told him again, so I like what you are wearing. Then he gave me his office address and asked me to come to his office. So I went, and then I made some few clothes for him, and he's become one of the top clients. In fact, he actually introduced me to one of the presidents. He made me first had an encounter with the president. He actually introduced me to one of the presidents that I started sewing for. And that catapulted my fashion brand to other people. So consistently, I texted this guy for 3 years before I got his attention. So whatever you are trying to do, I mean, you don't expect to succeed at once. Anyways, mine is not a success case. I just feel like I'm on the right path, you know. If I do things right, I'll become successful. But for now, I have found my calling. I do other businesses anyways, but fashion comes to me naturally. When I'm working, when I'm doing clothes, I don't feel tired because it's something I love to do. I can close at 1 a.m. and I'll be fine. Now, to build a solid brand, you, the leader, or you, the one who is building the brand, would have to be a brand yourself. And you have to have certain qualities that would inspire your team. So you have to be visionary. You have to know where you are going in the next 5 to 10 years, where you want your brand to go, and you start working towards it. You will definitely get there someday. The ability to inspire, okay, I said that already. Relentless consistency, integrity, and authenticity. Innovation and creativity. Now, I do simple clothes, but I often try to be a bit more innovative with the styles I make. Like I said, I like to do plain outfits, but once in a while I put some few touches to it. I intentionally go and buy other brands to wear to see how they are. And one thing I realize is branding is all about perception. How you make people feel is what would make you stand apart. Now, to build a brand that will stand the test of time or that will become a household name, you need partnerships. Clothing is an ego thing. Mostly people are vain. When they get successful, they want to spend on certain brands. So there are top global fabric manufacturers that when you mention their names, some of them date back as far as 1663. And top clothing designers like Louis Vuitton, Loro Piana, Gucci, Christian Dior, and the rest. They use those fabric manufacturers to make clothes. So I tried to reach out to them. It wasn't an easy thing, but I've been able to get at least 20% of these top fabric brands that those top fashion brands use to do my clothes. So whoever you are, whatever exposure you've had in the past, when you walk into my shop and you see those fabric manufacturers in there, then you will know that, yeah, we are serious. You know, we can become a global, or we are even competitive in the global market. The only difference is that we are in Ghana. So partnerships, when you partner with top, you may be small like I am, but the fact that you are close to certain kind of businesses, it also puts you on that level to some extent. So partnerships, very key in building strong brands. So we partner with top designers, top tailors, artisans, suppliers to create an ecosystem of growth. Collaboration expands capacity, reach, and sustainability. Then the customer base, you go. Now, I started this fashion brand with customers before the product itself. Like I said, I started selling other things. I cannot say I started with 50 pesos. No, I started looking for customers. You know, sometimes circumstances may lead you to want to give up on something. I knew I wanted to do fashion, but I didn't have what it takes to do it properly. So I was just doing research, whilst doing other sales and stuff, looking for the financing. Sometimes, and more times, financing can be a very, 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 a big issue for businesses. But when you do it well, let's say you have a contract to supply 100 pieces of outfits. If you don't have the money and you have the contract, chances are that you are going to get someone who will help you to succeed in that. So that was what I did to be able to get capital to start small before I finally owned a first flagship shop. So financing is very, very important when it comes to branding. But until you reach a certain level, you have to keep pushing yourself on how you brand yourself personally. So I already spoke about the word of mouth. Once you're able to connect to one customer, that particular customer will push you, and another will push you, another will push you, and they come. But that notwithstanding, to keep a brand growing, you constantly have to also advertise, market it yourself, deliver excellent customer experiences, continuously evolve based on feedbacks, align employees with your brand vision. The employees will have to know exactly where you're going so they can help you to reach there. All these are. Now, the very last one that I want to talk about is relationship marketing. So when you have a t-shirt that you want to sell, I often say that it is easy to retain and less expensive to retain your existing customers than trying to acquire new customers. So most often than not, our brands veer off the right path because you have some 2-3 solid customers. Instead of you to concentrate on how to keep those customers, you are rather going about trying to look for more customers. And that is too costly. Because you feel like, okay, there are a lot of customers in the market. If I treat this person anyhow, I can get. So you put yourself in what is termed the leaky bucket theory. It's like you have a bucket that you are constantly trying to fill, but there are holes at the sides of the bucket. You keep pouring water, the water keeps dropping. That's how you do. So you keep acquiring customers, but you don't know how to maintain those customers. They keep going out, so you keep dissipating your funds, and you are not building any brand at the end of the day. So relationship marketing is very key in projecting your brand. So to conclude, building the right business brand requires vision, consistency, and authenticity. Great brands don't just sell products, they inspire, trust, shape culture, and create lasting impact. Remember, you are not only building a business, you are building a legacy. That's what I'll leave you. That's why you have brands that have been in existence since 1900, and the names are there. They are not going anywhere. And most of these brands stood the test of time because of how visionary the founders were. So this brings us to the end of our discussion. So question time.
Yeah, so because of time, please make your questions very short and straight to the point. We'll take the first set. So if you have a question, just raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, Matthew, would you like to answer one by one, or they should ask maybe the first 5? Okay.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Jopwe Dumas. I'm studying mechanical engineering on campus. I'm level 200. I'm working on my personal branding also. Right now I'm selling yogurt on campus.
I can't hear you.
I said, my name is Jopwe Dumas. I'm studying mechanical engineering on campus. I'm also working on my personal branding. Right now I'm selling on campus yogurt, shoes, sneakers, cross, electrical devices. Yeah, these are the things I'm selling. But the big dream is that I'm also working on an engine. Because I'm studying mechanical engineering, I'm also working on engine. So my question, the advice I'm looking for right now is, how am I going to put everything together to my personal branding? Because I'm looking for a way out to put everything together under the brand that I'm building. The name of the brand is Dumas, my own name, but I don't really know how to put everything under that brand. That's the advice I'm looking for, if you can help me do that.
So if I get you, you have different businesses.
Yeah.
But you are trying to find out how you can put them together.
Yeah.
So what normally happens is that there's something we call umbrella business. You know, you have to look at the one that you can easily market it. So sometimes, like I said, I do other businesses, but I use my clothing brand to get to other customers, and I introduce my other business to them. So you need to deliberately push one of those, your businesses, to a certain level. You should be known to be doing that business. A lot of people don't know that I do other businesses under Bondana. All they know is clothing. So you need to push, if it's the yogurt or the engine or whatever that it is, you need to select one and give a reason why you must push that one up. Once you push that up, that one leads you to other customers that may need the other businesses. So you have to begin to market your very first business to make it popular and to push you to others. You can't do so many things at the same time, especially when you are starting. You may do so many things at the same time, but you have to have a vision. You have to have your eyes on one ball. Like I said, I sold so many things, not because I wanted to sell them, but because I wanted to build a solid fashion brand. So you might want to do all other things, but have your eyes on one and push that one. That one will stand as a springboard for you to stand on and push the others. But the most important thing is your own personal brand. You must improve on that, build on that first.
Okay. Can I add another question?
Yeah, you can.
And right now, you said I should work on my personal branding. The personal branding I'm building is about my name and mostly about my engineering part. What I noticed is that the other businesses are added, the yogurt, the electrical devices, and they are working. So how am I going to put that one aside and then work on the yogurt, electrical devices, sneakers, shoe, cost, those kind of things?
You don't put them aside. The ones that are working, they are the ones that you need to push so that you bring the others that are not working along. Do you understand?
Okay.
Because you can't leave what is already succeeding to go and pick what is not succeeding. Sometimes what you want to do, it may not happen. You know, the others that are not succeeding, maybe it's not a real time, or maybe you are not meant to do those things. So you need to leave those ones and concentrate on the one that is already picking up, so that it will lead you into pushing the others.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm David Ifa, and I wanted to know the inspiration behind adopting the name Bondana as your brand name.
Okay, that's a good question. Bondana means a rich person. a wealthy person, an affluent person. It's part of the brand story. So like I said, I was creating a brand that targeted a certain class of people, like the high-end kind of customers. So I needed a name that resonated well with them. But I didn't want to use an English word, Italian word, or whatsoever. You know, most fashion brands, they like using those fanciful names. So I went to use my northern, I'm a Frafra man. So I used the name Bondana. Bondana in Frafra means a wealthy, affluent, honorable person. But funny enough, I deliberately selected that name because it cuts across about 90% of the languages in the north. So I have people from Upper West asking me, are you from Upper West? Because it's the same meaning. The Agambire's ask me if I'm from their place because it's the same meaning. The Kosasis, the Mamprosis, almost 90%. So that's the inspiration behind the name Bondana.
Thank you.
Who's next?
All right, so thank you very much for... All right, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Kojoba. I'm a computer science student. So you were talking about relationships and charging premium for your services, right? So I wanted to know, when you started, you had no name, like your name wasn't that known. And your name wasn't that known when you started. And so did you start charging off premium prices with the relationships that you started building, or you did some free work and later on started charging premium?
That's why personal branding is very important. I started charging premium prices. I didn't start with the low-end level before moving, because wherever you start, that's where you have to, you either stay there and build a premium brand. Now, what I'm trying to actually do is to create a low-end or mid-end brand. I'm sure you are surprised how I just started without a name and I'm charging premium. It's because of the customers, the kind of people that I associate with. Imagine if your friend is a chief executive of a multinational company or a successful business, and then you go to him with, you know, a great outfit. You can charge him premium because he knows the value of that particular product. So the kind of customers I had first helped me to sell at premium, even before making the name.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really picked up a lot of points. So, hello, my name is Jeremy Akwa. I'm a computer science student as well. So I want to know, at what point in your journey did you decide to follow your passion? Like, what was the turning point exactly? Because when Sebawele introduced you, he was like, he used to work with a multinational company. So, I mean, working with a multinational company seems... Okay, so at what point did it hit you that, if you could share about that. Thank you.
Well, I already knew where I was going. Before I started working for other companies, it was just a way to get me to follow my passion. I knew my passion. I discovered what I wanted in business school. And I also discovered how to do it before business school. Because there's one book I read, that book actually changed the way I think. You know, building a business is not, I said it earlier, that it's not about how smart you are, it's just about determination and the zeal and how hungry you are. So I read a book by Napoleon Hill. It's called Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. That book changed how I see things. Sometimes I feel like I go into serious issues in business. But when I remember some of the things I've read, I've read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of motivational speakers and bestsellers. So those things actually build my mental fortitude on how to be consistent in the midst of calamity or devastation. You know, so I took up a job with Bosch. So when I finished business school, I decided not to go in for a job that would restrict me from following my passion. So I wasn't looking for government jobs. I wasn't looking for companies in Ghana. I was looking for multinational companies. Why? Because I felt like I just wanted to be employed by that. I'll be based in Ghana, and then I can have time to do my other businesses. So I had colleagues who we finished. They were all working. They were making good money, buying cars. Yeah, I was on Okada. I was always on the motorbike doing my things. There were times that I became so determined and confident to the point where I would go into tenders with big companies. For example, Vodafone Ghana would send out a tender, and I'll go into competition. Me, I don't have one single car showroom, but I'll go into competition with big companies like Toyota Ghana, CFAO. So I'll go and pose as I'm buying a car and get some of the documents and study the documents and come and sit in my room. And I'll follow up all the tender requirements, and I'll go and put it in. But when I win what was in my mind is that when I win the contract, I will still go back to the same companies and buy the goods and come and supply. You understand? All those things I was doing was to catapult me to pursue my passion. Then at a point, I had a network, so I decided to stop. And I kept applying. There were times I would apply for 100 jobs in a month, just because I knew what I wanted. People thought I wasn't looking for jobs, but I was looking for jobs, actually. And I got a 6-month contract with one German company called Bosch. I took that job because I knew that would put me to the level of getting another multinational. So when I did that job for 6 months, they extended the contract for 1 year. And then I left. Then during COVID, I got another job with one multinational company to build a business here in Ghana. So whilst I was working for that company, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I only needed funds so that I can veer off and go and do what I wanted to do. I was doing my clothing at the side. I was hiding. Sometimes they would find out and they would ask me. And I'm like, oh, I'm a model. I model for this fashion brand. But it was actually my brand. So when I worked I was paid well. I was paid in dollars and things. And I was getting commissions. I was the first person who started the business in Ghana here. It went into mining support services, oil and gas and stuff. So imagine the whole Ghana, whatever sale you bring, you get 3% of that. I was paid well, but it did not stop me. I'm not saying that don't be employed. You can be employed and you'll be comfortable, because not everybody who will do business and succeed. But it's just about passion. So I actually resigned after 2 years. I resigned to come and start the fashion brand. When I resigned, 2-3 months later, they started hearing of me. And they were like, how did it happen? But yeah, I still maintained a certain level of relationship with them. Now, today, one of the businesses I do is with that particular company. So I've become their local partner. I still do the same business and supply their products to the market. Do you get it? So that's how the whole thing started. So I didn't identify what I wanted during my work for the multinational. I already knew what I wanted. Those working experiences were just a way to push me to what I actually wanted to do.
Hello, my name is Elliot Akeiti. I study IT. I wanted to ask you, what was your breaking point in your journey and how did you solve it?
What was what?
Your breaking point in your journey and how did you solve it?
My breaking point. Breaking point. As in what, a challenge?
Yeah, the most difficult challenge you ever faced and how did you solve it?
So many difficult challenges, but let me look at let me just use one. So, for example, I started by trying to sell clothes to top-level people. And somewhere in 2015, that was when I started this whole fashion brand. I wanted to reach one particular person. You know, I was determined to reach that particular person, to have that particular person as a client. And it was never easy. You know, I tried everything. Under the sun. To meet the person, it was never easy. So what I did at one point was, you know, I do custom clothes. You have to take the person's measurement before you'll be able to do something for the person. So what I did was I took the person's photo, looked at the person's body size, stature in the photos, and I just wrote down the measurement. Like having studied this person for over 5 years. And I decided that, you know what, let me just make the clothes and find somebody who is probably close to him to go and give to him. I mean, that's like throwing meat into a pond full of fishes and expect that one fish will eat and die. But yeah, I did that, by the way. So I made about 4 different outfits, and fortunately for me, I got somebody close by the person. And what would appear to you as so many years of suffering trying to acquire that one customer happened like a speed of light. When the person saw the clothes, the person personally called me. This is like a high-profile personality. The person called me himself. And you know, what happened as a struggling moment became my biggest strength. Why? I didn't pass through anybody to go to him. Nobody took my hand to him. So I can actually go to the person anytime, any moment, depending on his availability. And whatever I do with that customer, nobody can say, oh, I took you here, and then you are here, or you did this. You know, so I think how I was able to break that barrier is just mere determination. That's all.
So, can I get your business card?
My business card?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, when I'm done.
Okay.
Hello, please, I'm Alicia. So you mentioned sourcing your fabrics from the top global manufacturers. Do any of them happen to be Ghanaian or African? And if not, would you say there's a gap in the market? And do you see yourself going into luxury fabric manufacturing? Thank you.
I think some of them are Ghanaian. Not really purely Ghanaian, but most of the African prints, you know, the wooden, the GTP and all those ones. But I do few of those ones. But most of the top fabric manufacturers, unfortunately, are not even in Africa. You know, not even in Africa, or even, not even South Africa. They are mostly based in Europe and Asia. You know, so there's actually a very big gap, and it's one of the things that I'm trying to explore, you know, going forward, because we import practically everything. 95% of my fabrics, I import them. Some of them are so expensive that I cannot import, because if you import, customers come and they don't select what you've brought. They want a different thing. So what I do is I bring only the swatches, and all those ones you have to buy them. So there's really a huge gap, and it's something, if you want, you can take it up. Once you're a student, you can think of setting up your own fabric manufacturing company. It won't be easy, but you might get there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, hey. So my name is Fatima, and say that I'm doing robotics, and I always wanted to be a fashion designer. But, you know, doing robotics, it's taken away my time and energy. I have some sketches. I would like to show you some. But I don't know, it's like I don't know if I have to give up on my dream, or I can do both, like robotics and fashion. So can I show you my sketches and you can
Let me answer your question before.
Yeah.
You said you don't know whether you should give up on your dream.
Yeah.
Which one do you like doing most?
Actually, I didn't want to do robotics. Like, I wanted to do fashion design in Lebanon, but since we had war, so I had to come here and live with my father, and I didn't find any fashion school. Not really fashion school. Like, I wanted a degree, so I came. Like, I'm glad to be a ACity student, but I think taking away my passion. And I'm scared of that because I'm really into fashion, and I've always dreamed to be like a fashion designer since I was a kid.
Yeah, you know, in whatever you do, you need to go to school. Whatever passion you have, you need to get a degree. You need to. I went to school. I have a master's degree in marketing. I actually loved marketing. I switched from HR to marketing. So doing robotics is such an interesting thing. It's a very great green area. But if fashion is what you like to do, after doing robotics and completing, you should pursue your passion, which is fashion. You know, because if you are fortunate enough to transform your fashion into a business, then you know, so many people will hurt you, a lot of things, environmental factors will hurt you. But because you love doing it, you are going to keep going. You know, so like I said, I had to leave a well-paid job to come and be a tailor, like they call them. So you actually need a school, you need a degree in robotics. Maybe along the line, you might think fashion is your passion, but along the line, something can change and you pursue robotics. Apart from that, keep the dream alive.
I will try, but can I show you my sketch?
Yeah, you can. No, I will wait for him. You did this.
Yeah. And here, this is another one.
That's awesome. Oh yeah. It looks great. So you should pursue it. You have the talent. Super talented. I think I'll just take one last question and then.
So good afternoon. I'm Badaogu Jean-Christian, and I'm doing banking and finance. I wanted to know, have you ever been in a situation before when actually someone greater than you or more powerful than you tried to stop you from pursuing your dream? Like, he see you as a competitor and he wanted to, how did you handle that situation?
A lot more times. You know, sometimes I deliberately buy other fashion brands to wear to find out why is it that this brand is so expensive, because of the level I want to reach. So I would go and buy a high-end brand clothes and I wear. Now, I remember a story when I first started my clothing brand full-time. I used to buy clothes from someone, like I was the person's customer. Imagine you are buying clothes from the person, and then I started a clothing business. The person actually called me on phone to warn me not to go after his customers. And I told him, have you forgotten I'm one of your customers? Like, I actually bought a lot of clothes from the person. You know, and then there are times where people will try to take your shine. But that's life. Nobody can stop you unless you yourself. So that's where you need to activate the street spirit in you, because you have to go to the street. You have to have the fighting spirit. You can't have, I don't even know where my MBA certificate is, honestly. And I'm not sure if I'm using it. You know, I'm not sure. That's why you realize that I wasn't able to follow the PowerPoint properly. I'm one of the people who realized that I cannot succeed so much working for others. That I knew. It's not that it doesn't mean I don't know anything, but I just knew from the beginning that if you employ me, I do not have what it takes to rise to become a manager. At best, maybe I'll just become a line manager. I can't rise to become an MD. So I had to put my every effort in buildings and something for myself. So few challenges will come. People will try to stop you, even your family members. I remember if they would tell me, how can you go to school? You have an MBA and you're roaming selling watches and clothes. You know, all those things are things that will stop you. But, you know, at the end of the day, it only takes one day. You don't need so many success stories. It's just one particular success story. And then, you know, you are there. One of the most important turning points for my business, especially this clothing brand, that actually drew international clients to my shop, was when I designed the president's outfit on the inaugural day. How many of you saw that outfit? So that outfit became a talk of town during that time. The whole month, you know, people were talking about it. It was being shared everywhere on social media. And I had international icons text me by just that, you know, outfit. So that was like a big turning point for me. But before that turning point, there were so many downs for years that, I mean, I can't share. I hope you're okay with that.
Okay, so good evening. I am Mohammed Yassin. And I wanted to ask, you see, initially when you started speaking, you were saying that you didn't go to any fashion school. And at a certain point, you were saying that you had to give fabrics to certain tailors and all that. So how were you able to, because, you know, you will not be able to sell so well if you don't know the nitty-gritties in the fashion business, right? So whilst you were doing that, how were you, or what were you doing to break that gap? At least, although you are not a tailor or a fashion designer, but you know something that can help you sell, that will also make those sewing for you sit up that, Charlie, although this guy, he doesn't know much, but I cannot do him any style, yeah.
It doesn't mean that I don't know much about clothing. I learned certain things myself by way of street, practical knowledge. I used to iron for people, like I used to iron for my big brother, and he used to wear quality clothes, and he used to give me some of those old clothes. So I became knowledgeable when it came to fashion, like clothing, how fabrics feel. All those were my strengths, you know. If I select a particular fabric, chances are that 95% of my customers will like that fabric. That's where the secret is. If you know your business so well, you are likely to succeed. But it is not always the case. You may know your business so well, but you are not passionate. You are not consistent enough to push it. But if you are lucky and fortunate enough to know your industry so well, it is one of the things that I know. You know, I can tell how an outfit should fit. I can tell how a good fabric should feel. When you stitch and you don't stitch well, I'll tell you, no, you have to stitch again. So I even train tailors. You know, I train tailors and I refine them to make the best out of, you know, the little.
All right, so in the absence of any other question, let's put our hands together, a round of applause for. Thank you so much, Mr. Agambire, for spending such crucial hours with us. I want to believe that you are all inspired, you've all learned something, and then from here, those of you who want to be in business, you know how to do your branding. In 30 seconds, let me call on Mami Ifia to do a vote of thanks on behalf of the class and the school.
Okay, thank you.
You won't clap for her.
On behalf of the entire Academic City family, our dear resourceful lecturer, Dr. Eugene, for giving us a chance to meet you, the entire class of 2028, and the upcoming future fashion designers in this room, would like to extend our utmost gratitude to you for this insightful presentation on business branding, and it's our hope that we are able to apply all of it in our lives and in our businesses. We also wish you the best of wishes in your business, and it's our hope that in the next 5 to 10 years, the Bondana Group will be the biggest global fashion designing company. Thank you, Mr. Matthew Agambire, aka Mr. Bondana.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Agambire, the university has a gift for you, and I'll call on Adeline to come and do the presentation on behalf of the class.